Morning, Roy. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Might be just sitting there waiting for the meeting to start.
Yeah, I just joined a little bit early.
No, no problem. You sound like you're joining from a mobile or maybe a speakerphone.
Well, I am driving down the highway trying to listen in because I have a meeting I've got to jump on and I want to catch at least part of what was happening.
Okay. Well, I'm making a better effort to record the meeting today. So if you're not able to see the presentation or what's on the screen, then you'll be able to follow up on that. This time around, I'm recording it from a different machine so that it's not all happening on the one computer and straining the resources. So we should end up with better quality recording.
That'd be awesome.
It's good of you to join us from a phone though on the way to work.
So, yeah, I'm probably not doing the right thing by traveling down the road and doing this.
So is this over mobile data?
Well, what I've got is I have a Nokia Lync on LTE.
Sure.
And my Surface tablet is connected, using Bluetooth. And so I'm just listening to like a cell phone call, got the headphones plugged in.
Okay. Oh, that's quite a combination.
That's probably not the wisest choice, but
who's paying for the mobile data?
oh, that's me. So, but I've got a 15 gigabyte plan right now.
Oh, we don't have anything like that in New Zealand. Not 15 gigs. I mean, they'd let us go that high, but we don't have a 15 gig plan that you could apply. Yeah, that's good data.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm in eastern part of the U.S. near Nashville, Tennessee, so we have pretty good AT&T.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, New Zealand recently did a study on comparing us to other nations in terms of price of mobility, whether it be text, talk, or data, and apparently we're above average, but we're below average when it comes to data. They're quite hungry and not very competitive between the three major mobile companies here in New Zealand. So we do kind of miss out at the moment, but looking forward to maybe a bit more competition.
Yeah.
So in true Lync online meeting fashion, everyone dives in at the very last minute. They get their reminders on their desktop and jump on in.
I'm hearing a lot of noise right now. It's not you. It's travel noise, so I didn't really hear what you said there last time. Sorry.
Yeah.
For the reason it's picking up my headset mic, but the volume not coming into my headset was odd, but whatever.
Yeah, I think we'll get some interruptions probably using mobile data, and I think it's almost like it's using your speakerphone on your phone that your headset perhaps isn't active, because it does sound like you're distant from your phone rather than it being a headset over your ear.
Yeah, I had originally planned to be in my office for about a decent setup, and I had a client meeting that popped up and had a decent amount of money involved in it, so I jumped in my vehicle and hit the road. So
Right.
the nature of my business has moved. But really excited to learn more about Lync and using OneNote. I use OneNote a lot, and I work with a lot of different folks around the U.S. on projects that I have inside and outside of our company. So finding effective ways to collaborate is still a challenge in the construction industry, and that's where it's most interesting to me.
Right. Yeah. This sort of tool is quite versatile, really. So it's quite good that you know, like you're experiencing, you can join in from different devices, and whether it be a phone or a tablet or your desktop, laptop, whatever. I imagine that you being an example of good data rates and data plans, that on a construction scenario you'd be able to take that kind of communication out to the site. But I think just based on maybe background noise, and I don't know, I'm just imagining construction and what goes on in the background, that you'd need a decent headset to be able to both cancel the noise that's in the background and also be able to hear the other attendees of a meeting. Have you tried that yet on location?
No, I've not tried the audio portion of it. What I have done is taken my tablet out to a site and used OneNote to record some video.
Oh yeah.
Demonstrating, you know, what I want to communicate, or inserting pictures and then adding, you know, manual drawings with a pen or that sort of thing. And that's been, you know, very effective. But that's more of a whiteboarding style thing. And you know, I am able to communicate over my cell phone reasonably well, but yeah, beyond that, it's a little bit of a challenge because our corporate office just cut Skype off because we've got 3,000 to 5,000 employees, and we had some people doing some inappropriate use of the tool, I suppose. So
Yeah.
I got to find another way to work around that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that you know, misuse can ruin it for the rest of the people who you know, are using it for genuine purposes. But Lync is a good step in the right direction, because it's more of an enterprise and corporate product. So even if head office wanted to you know, start using Lync, then they have more control over it than they would have with Skype. Yeah, welcome, Jason. Sorry, we're getting some more people joining, so that's great. Like I said, Lync online meetings, last minute joining in. So yeah, feel free, people, as you come on board, to turn your video on, or you know, come off mute to have a chat. This is how we're going to open up the meeting, just as a demonstration of the video conferencing capabilities, and just a more friendlier way of coming into a meeting, rather than having a slide sitting there, or silence and everyone in the IM are questioning, oh, is the audio going, and I can't see the presentation. This is to be a bit more friendly. So yeah, if you're not shy, feel free to come off mute, or turn your video on if you've got a device that's capable. Yeah, thanks, Roy. So sorry?
Good to go ahead and mute. I didn't want to switch back on everyone else.
Yeah, no worries. So Martin and Jason have just joined. We've got Roy, who's coming a little early. He's joined from a mobile device in his car, so he's using mobile data, and he's got a whopping 15 gigs for his plan, which is 10 gigs more than what's available in New Zealand. But he's yeah, attending from a phone. He's got audio, and yeah, hopefully, I don't know, Roy, have you got presentation going at all? You probably wouldn't want to when you're driving, would you? Yeah, not a good call. But yeah, obviously mobile data, moving car, you know, there's going to be some slight interruption there with the quality of the audio. Yeah, welcome, Raphael. Good to see you there. We've got a few latecomers. I expect there's actually a number of other people that have registered for this meeting and are keen to attend. I track the acceptance of meetings. There we go. I track the acceptance of meetings using the meeting invite, so I do expect to be quite a few people attending compared to last time. And I've had reports that there'll be people attending from multiple devices too within companies to, I guess, put some pressure on the Lync system and just max it out, see if we can get a different kind of experience. So I will wait a little longer before we start on the presentation and the content, because I do want to give people a chance to drop in late, as people do, and they are coming in droves. Just a comment I'd make though, it's interesting. I've created this meeting using obviously Outlook with Lync, and I've set everyone to be able to come in directly because I didn't want to be managing a lobby and always seeing it admit all, etc. I know it's easy enough to do, but that's what I chose to set up. Now, because of the options that I've chosen, it still seems that everyone's coming in as presenter. So you see that I'm occasionally clicking in and making people attendees. So we'll look at that a bit later on as part of setting up the meeting invite and discovering what options we have available. The screenshots that I've taken are the settings that I'm using with this meeting. So we'll be able to see what effect is, or what has caused this effect. And I think it has something to do with allowing people to come in without having to wait in the lobby. If all those who have joined in, feel free to take yourself off mute and join in with video. You know, as I said to some of the other people just a few minutes ago, the idea is that to come into a Lync online meeting, rather than having a slide up, a welcome slide, and dead silence, people all questioning, is audio working? I can't see the presentation. This is a more friendly way to welcome people in, to get a bit of chat going, a bit of talk, and yeah, just come on in. Getting up there. Oh, hello, Roy. Oh, you've turned video on for your travel in the car.
Well, I'm near my meeting space, which is not until 11:30, and so I pulled over into a gas station, and I'm just waiting. So I thought I would test my mobile data to see if it's effective enough for this on my tablet.
Well, I have to say that the view of your camera, apart from the angle, it's really crisp. I don't see any jitter or any slowdown, any lag. Awesome. So that's quite impressive. Yeah. I don't know how I'm appearing.
Using this as the camera off of my Surface Pro 2. I'm fighting a cold, so forgive me for how I sound, but
no problem.
Anyway.
Welcome to all the others that are dropping in here. This is great. So yeah, feel free, other attendees who do have video capabilities, to turn on your video. It's great actually, because with Lync I can see who does have video and who's being shy. You've all got icons with a video on pause, but that's okay. Oh, this is great, good turnout. So yeah, just for those who are just joining now, we're just starting off with just a video conference rather than just a still slide, and people wondering if audio is working or not. It's a bit more of a friendly way to allow people in, and I'm just having to manage the people coming in because due to my settings I still see people joining as a presenter, but that's okay. And hi Raphael, and with Windows Phone Lync app, great. You can't see the presentation. That's okay, I'm not presenting anything apart from my desktop. So that's you'll be happy to know, all the attendees, that if you'd viewed my recording from the last meeting, it was horrible. I've got a bit of an explanation about why that is later on in the presentation, but it did come off a bit like watching the Thunderbirds with a really bad voiceover for a different language. Yeah, lots of delays, voice didn't match up with the content that was being presented. Basically I was punishing my machine, the one that I was doing the presentation from and doing the recording. So we'll have a look at that later, and I'm recording from a different machine altogether with a different login. I've logged in as Isaac on another machine, and we should have a much better recording. So we do have a few shy people here this morning, but that's fine. Always the only one who's bold enough to turn on his camera. Yeah, so Raphael, why I mentioned that is while you can't see the presentation, we should have a better quality presentation of a recording of that presentation later on. Hello, Paul.
Hi there,
Also,
it's Thomas from Germany.
Oh, hi, Thomas. There we go.
I thought I take the step and switch on my camera and microphone. Just say hello to you from Germany. It's 5 o'clock in the evening and everything worked fine this time. I had some troubles last time using my Windows Store app on a Acer tablet, but today I'm still in the office and so I'm using my work account and that's working much better.
That's great. Yeah, I knew I could count on you to come on video because you're quite cooperative and helpful last time, so that's good. It's all part of the experience and the demonstration. How are we going here for attendees? Yeah, not too bad, 14. So I know and I expect that there'll be people there we go. The inevitable management of the mute. Stuart's been...
Interestingly, you're seeing 14 participants. I'm seeing 16.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Oh, hi, Adrian.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm trying to join from some other devices, too.
Okay. It's great, actually, to meet up with some people here because I've only come across you, some of you in LinkedIn or the like, so puts another dimension in there. That's great. Paul sees 16 as well.
Great to hear and see you.
Oh, you know what? I'm only counting the 14 attendees, not the presenters, myself and Isaac. So.
Okay.
Hey, I dropped out there, people. Maxing out Lync already. Oh dear. And yeah, sorry about that. I guess you all still had connectivity and you could all be part of the meeting while the presenter dropped out. That was wonderful. I can only put that down to atmospheric conditions and typical Olympic software network issues. Yeah, that's what I'll go with anyway, because you all were able to stay in the meeting and you're present. Stuart, man, you've got a mean looking microphone. Are you on mute or off mute?
Not mute at the moment. Should be hearing me with a bit of luck.
Do you do a podcast?
Yeah, this is a Heil mic. Anyone here know Leo Laporte from Twit Network? He turned me on to Heil mics a little while ago. They are just beautiful. The sound quality, I hope the Lync is doing its best with the sound quality. The sound quality of these things is fantastic. You were talking about putting music on the front of these sessions or talking so that people hear you. One of the things I got on the front of this setup is a little mixer so I can feed in music from my iPad or wherever so that we can play. What we tend to do is we play music during the startup so that, yeah, you did it right. People can sort out that they've got their ears working and stuff like that and work from there. But this little guy's, it's probably getting a bit old hat now, but it's one of those things I quite like to use still.
No, I like that it's using the device to feed that in. I guess it's a much smarter way than trying to attach some kind of WAV file to the Lync meeting itself.
Yeah, it never works. No, it's a little four-line mixer on the front, and that just means I can then play stuff through that and mix it in.
Great. Well, that's great.
Started doing that when I started.
Sorry?
Go ahead. No, so I started doing that when I started working with WebEx about 8 years ago, and it's sort of grown up from there. And finally, turfed WebEx out of the way, and we're starting using Lync all the time now.
Right. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it actually does pay to invest in a decent headset. I usually use Plantronics, so double ears because my work colleagues can get quite rowdy. So I do like to drown them out and focus on the content of the phone call. But I do have a Plantronics Bluetooth headset, which I pair up with the tablet, and I can, yeah, clearly I'm a bit more mobile rather than wandering around with a double ear headset across the street. Yeah. Tell you what, let's get started shortly. I think we've got a good number of attendees, and we've got 10 minutes past 5, so we've got some content to get through. What mobile device have I shared my desktop again since I've been dropped? Let's try that. So what we're going to do is we're going to mute the video. No attendee video. So good to see you all, but this is one of the effects that I had to counter from last time. Yes, it is being recorded. I've got another session open under the name of Isaac, and that's going to be used to record the sessions and do a much better job in quality. Let me just turn off my own video as well. Okay. So we are back to the meeting. Put that over there so it's a bit easier to manage. Okay. And I should try and keep this stage, show stage, hide stage, because I want to be able to see people's chat as it appears. Maybe we'll just have to chop and change between it. So I will try and keep out an eye for the flashing link to show that people are messaging and perhaps asking questions. But feel free to come off mute when you want to ask a question or chip in and contribute, because it's much faster than typing, and you're less likely to make spelling mistakes. Not that that matters in Lync anyway. So. Oh yeah, great. iPhone and AT&T working. So there's going to be a bit of banter between the attendees as we go. So we can ask questions as we go. Just come off mute, or we can have a look at that a bit later on. So yeah, looking at the agenda, I'll just flick over to that. We're using OneNote to do a bit of note boarding, and that's going to be quite interactive as we go. We've opened up with video conferencing, so for those who've just joined, it's just a more friendly way of being able to start the meeting rather than having a slide sitting there. And we've got a few resources for this meeting. So the notebook that you're viewing on screen now, it was shared from my blog post as a view-only link. However, this link for guest contributor will allow you to open it up in the browser. And I'll just paste that into copy link. I'll paste it into the IM so that you can launch it from there. So this means that I'll keep an eye on that, and just if someone could let me know when they've got it open successfully and that it's working. This link will allow you to view the notebook to start with, but also be able to add and contribute to various parts of the meeting as we go. Thanks, Martin. That's great. Great. So I'll assume that it's going to work for everyone else. Don't worry, it's been thoroughly tested. So that's one of the resources. The other resource I want to draw your attention to is the Yammer group. Okay, we've heard that there's a lot of Yammer groups, and people are getting that message loud and clear from Microsoft. But I want to just point out that there's something that only occurred to me in a conversation with another MVP. And that I was asking about, when is persistent chat going to come out for Lync Online? So persistent chat is like the old chat rooms, that you can have a room there with a topic. You can go in at any time. Attendees in that room can type away and have a chat like you used to be able to do on the MSN Messenger. That feature's not available in Lync Online, and I think I've cottoned on as to why, and that there is a direct relationship between that and moving to Yammer for various social activities, but also continuing discussions. So the discussion kind of went like this. I was just putting it out there on a distribution list. Will Lync Online get persistent chat? And I think I got an authoritative answer from Tommy Clark, who's an MVP for Lync. Isn't that what Yammer's for? Yeah, clearly. So that lit a light bulb in my head. Of course, It's conversation that persists, so that fits the bill. But it's also searchable, it's easy to join, and there's a ton of other features. So I should have seen that coming. And it's what I'd like to try and experiment with a bit today. So if you've got the notebook open, feel free to, while we're in the meeting, visit that, and if you've got a Yammer account, join on in. We're going to run some Q&A out of that, some responses to the meeting content, and perhaps we'll see what else we get out of it. So that's, I think, what the future of persistent chat will look like for Lync Online. It won't be a feature of Lync, it will be a Yammer group. And so what I've done for today's meeting is the Getting Started network is my network, and if you could, as you're making your posts, use hashtag #MaxOutLync, and that will make it really easy to follow the content that's related to today's online meeting. So, question: how have you joined today? One of the first parts of our meeting today, which is interactive, is this very question. I want to just get an idea of how you've joined, who's joined, whether you're going from multiple devices, what's the experience like. Don't feel like you have to write an essay or anything, but just a good little short indication of those couple of questions would be great. So if you're using that in full view and you didn't see how I got there, that's on the Play Guest Contributions tab, and we're on the 12th of March. I'll just check for recent messages. Whoops. Bump this up a bit here. Yeah, okay, thanks, Paul. Yeah, I think that's the way it's going, and there's a lot of integration coming in with Yammer. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about with that. It's been shaped into a good tool, and I see it as a good supplement or complement for a Lync meeting, of being able to spill your conversation over to that. So yeah, back onto the meeting. If you do get the chance through the meeting, if you've managed to open up the notebook here, let's put a star on that so it's easy to recognize. That will allow you to get into this notebook and go to that page to fill out the contribution about who, where, what, why. Thank you, Thomas. Brilliant. Okay, so Thomas has showed us the way. That's great. And you notice there that you've got GC at the end, because any contributions today that you're making through the browser will be as a guest contributor. So we'll just leave that to fill up as you go along. We'll look at the findings from last meeting. So just one thing that I wanted to let you know about, and it was another question I had, what about the Q&A feature? It appears to be within Lync in the Lync client, and I'll just point that out. And I won't try to launch it because currently, even though it's there, it doesn't appear to be working in Lync Online. Some people report that it is. I'm not sure how, but if I just take you through to the article. Okay, so there's our Yammer group there. So as you join in, and you can make your contributions. But onto that Q&A feature, I got this answer from Microsoft support for Office 365 that some of the presentation features are unavailable. That's the error message that I was seeing whenever I tried to present Q&A on Lync Online, and it appears that it is a problem to do with proxy and also the Lync client itself. So I think it may be something to do with the Lync client behind a proxied environment, and that it has issues with trying to launch that Q&A feature. So here we're using a proxy server, and that affects me. So Microsoft are hoping to roll out a fix to be able to liven up that Q&A feature for some of the other companies that are using proxy servers. So yeah, that's just something to point out. Q&A worked for you recently? Oh, okay. And Stuart, are you on Lync Online?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Used it 2 days ago. It's got some slightly strange way of operating. It shuts down instant messaging and takes over from that. But apart from that, it worked as advertised. So maybe I'm just lucky.
No, that is good. The trick there with how it disables IM is, and it's a bit like closing off the meeting and trying to get people to put in their questions in Q&A. But you can leave it open throughout the meeting by switching back from Q&A back to IM or allowing IM, and that will leave the Q&A feature open, and you're able to add your contributions to that, as well as have IM within the general space of the meeting. So just see if you can get that going for yourself, Stuart, and be interested to hear how you find it.
I'll give that a go. Thank you.
Great. So back to your Q&A. So thanks, Stuart's confirmed that it does work for Lync Online, and it's just that fix probably needs to come out for those of us that work behind proxies. So the next part of reviewing the findings, I'm not scientific. I briefly wrote what I observed within our last meeting, and like I mentioned to some people earlier on, the recording in particular was horrible, and I put that down to our the way that I recorded it. I did the meeting, presented the meeting, recorded the meeting, had all the applications open, all on one laptop with limited resources. So yeah, that's part of the reason that there were issues. But just looking at that particular, let me just flick something down here. I'm using a Surface Pro, so I'm able to lie this flat and resize it, sort of pinch zoom. So what I saw were what I call max out factors. I know I did borrow the logo from Max Factor Makeup. It's not a okay, it's just a bad attempt at humor. But what I identified as some of our max out factors that were classed into three different areas. There was the presenter area, the service itself, Lync Online, and the attendee. And so there are those areas that can affect the quality of Lync Online meeting. And the one thing that I just mentioned there was the device spec. So if you are presenting from a machine that I was using a 4 gig RAM laptop with Windows 8 on it. The laptop's about 6 years old. What else can I say about it? I did have probably too many programs open that were in addition to what I was going to use for the meeting. I was recording the meeting. We were all presenters. What else do we have? Yeah, we had video on for everyone that was using video. So we were doing a lot of things. We were pushing Lync Online, but perhaps more to the point, we were pushing the resources of my laptop. So that's one thing to definitely consider. So yeah, if you don't need those apps open as well during the meeting, then close them. That was a bit of laziness on my behalf. Network, of course, that's quite clear for presenters. It's good to have a reasonable network connectivity. Depending on how good your wireless is, whether you're close to the access point or whether you're going to go from a wired connection. Wired connection would always be preferable because there's a less chance of interruption over Wi-Fi. So that kind of covers off the presenter factors. I don't know if anyone else has thought of additional factors, but that kind of sums it up for me. In terms of the service, it may be that we maxed out Lync because there were too many features running simultaneously. And so I gave that a bit of thought, that perhaps, having video on, perhaps presenting a screen, perhaps having everyone as presenter, and that everyone could, contribute all and collaborate all at the same time, that may be too much. Again, it might be related to my presenter end, but I think maybe it's a consideration of the service. So we look at a few things about the service and perhaps how we run the meeting, and rejiggle that about about how we would improve the performance of the meeting. And I've demonstrated one today. that, it's great to have that video conferencing feature, but I think that it's not a great idea to run the video conferencing feature and present your desktop at the same time. So I've split, as today, as an example, we've started off with video conferencing. We have defined sections where there might be times in your own meetings where you want to get face-to-face communication going. You stop and you have a chat and have that talk and banter going on, and then you get back to the presented content. I'll just have a quick look at what's being talked about. Many corps manage power consumption. Lync is sensitive to your laptop being on power. Yes, yeah, that's right. Group policies that turn the power to certain things. I also gather that there's perhaps a setting on Lync for devices such as mobile phones, where if it's on mobile data or something like that, that you've got to tick a box to say, I want it to override, I want it to have all the features, otherwise it turns off things like video. That's a possibility. So back to the service. The other consideration, of course, is the number of attendees that includes the presenters. That might be affecting the quality of a meeting. Now, in saying that, I did try to align the last meeting with the Lync conference, and just about the same time that we were having our meeting, or a little later, it was announced that Lync Online is going to be able to cope with over 2,000 to 3,000 attendees. So the 250 limit doesn't seem to be that large compared to the 2,000 to 3,000 that will be coming. Again, they don't have any dates, but I'm looking forward to see how that will operate. Whether it be stricter around limits of how many presenters you can have, and what sort of features you can run for that many number of attendees. But yeah, it's a good step in that direction. So the other factor, of course, or the other area that we're looking at was what's happening on the attendee end of the meeting. Again, there are lots of apps that are open, and they're obvious about network connectivity and whether you're on a wide connection or not. So I would draw it a bit like this, the old Venn diagram, that you've got to consider all these factors, and it could be one, some, or all. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. There might be other factors too that we can learn about from some of Microsoft's Lync experts and the product groups there, but that's what I've come up with as a reflection of the previous meeting. So yeah, like I said, what we're doing differently, we're not doing constant video conferencing, we're not sharing the video and the desktop at the same time. The idea was to have you join all as attendees, but as we've seen, people are able to join and they're all coming in as presenters, and that may be something to do with the settings that I've set within my invite, so we'll look at that later too. So moving right along, going back to our... So one other live example ahead of this, I attended a Ignite webinar for the first look at Exchange 2013 Service Pack 1, and that was an interesting meeting because of any of the products or services that Microsoft represent or what they have, Exchange is very, very popular. So there were a lot of technicians that were interested in Service Pack 1, what it could do, what they had to do. They had all sorts of questions, and the meeting very quickly went up to the limit of 250 people, and you would see it dip down and fill back up again, and dip down and fill back up. And if you watch this recording, I don't know whether they've edited it or not, but there were definite spots where the presentation, people were having problems connecting. They were not seeing the content very well. They had to join and rejoin. And that can be a number of the factors that we talked about earlier, but I think that it's also a reflection of having 250 attendees as well. So that's something to keep considering. Yeah, thanks for that, Stuart, for answering questions in there. So that was a live example, and I was an attendee, and I was able to see and look at that experience. So if you wanted to look at that video, then you'll see for yourself. So just as a mid-meeting health check, how is everyone experiencing the meeting today? Is it, for those of you who attended last time, are you finding that it's any different? Feel free to unmute and talk rather than type if you want to, or we'll have a look out there in the IM.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, this time works better, but I really attribute that to the client I'm using this time, so I'm using my Office Lync client.
Sure.
And not the store app, so probably might be.
Yep, no, I agree. I've had mixed successes with the store app as well, and I don't know whether that's because they're not updating it and developing it so much, or fixing the bugs. But yeah, I do find that while it's an interesting experience when you can connect, sometimes it's hit and miss about whether you can connect or not. And I use my Office 365 Lync Online account to try and connect, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, okay, thanks for that, Paul. So audio's great sharing. Photos not there, but not sure if it's because most Lync users do not have a photo associated. Yeah, but it's okay. So I'll point that out. So some people have assigned a photo to their Lync accounts, or to their identity within Office 365, and some people haven't. You'll also see that some of these attendees are joining from a browser, so that comes across as whoever they name themselves, but it doesn't have any central place for a photo to be stored and presented. Yeah, so that's to be expected. Now, there was something I noticed too between the Lync 2010 and the Lync 2013 systems. We've had Lync for a while here at my workplace, and you used to be able to configure where you had your identity, where you had your photo, and our staff would have all our photos as a directory off our main website, and the instructions were to put in the URL that goes directly to your photo. And that made it easy for the rest of the world, whatever meeting you joined, that those photos were always going to be accessible and presented. In Lync 2013, I don't know if that happens automatically, but I don't see that option. You can upload it. I think by default it uploads it to Active Directory, drops it in there like the Outlook photo does. But yeah, I'm not sure why or why not the photo appears. Good to hear that the audio is clear. Thanks, Jonathan.
In Lync 2013 client, the show picture from our website URL was introduced with the November cumulative update, I guess.
Okay.
Else, the preferred method obviously is to store it in the unified context store, so store it in Exchange.
Right.
Or in Active Directory.
Thomas, when it's stored there in Exchange, does that mean that it's visible to people who are outside your company?
I'm not sure about that. It means it's stored in Exchange 2013. It's also stored in Active Directory as a thumbnail photo, and it should be visible to people outside the company. Yes.
Yeah, I would hope so. Though my assumption would be that because it's on a system that's internal, maybe it's relying on Lync at the client being able to push that photo to the other people in an external meeting. Yeah, I don't know, but it'd be good to know the answer to that one.
Yeah, I'm not too sure actually.
My experience is if you're using your picture from Active Directory, other organizations, even if you're federated with them, cannot view them.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. So yeah, are they able to see my photo? I mean, I can see my photo, of course, but if you can see my photo, perhaps it's a feature of Office 365 that it's there and available and people can see it. So Tim can't see it.
I don't see your feed photo.
Oh, okay, so
I was able to see it at the start of the meeting, but not anymore.
okay, that's interesting. Started the meeting, but not anymore. Maybe it's one of those features that you know, as you're connecting to the meeting, it's trying to make all these connections about looking at the presentation and having IM, and it doesn't manage necessarily to get that picture visible every time. DDA, I just added my picture. Okay. Maybe it'll appear shortly. Anyway, so yeah, it sounds like just as a general health check that those who did attend the last meeting, the quality is better. I know that my experience of running this as a presenter is much nicer because I'm running it on an 8 gig Surface Pro 2 with yeah, etc. All the specs. It's much better than a 6-year-old laptop with only 4 gigs. Yep, quite happy to have this device. Anyway, enough bragging. On with the next part of it. Next part of the meeting. So we'll look at the meeting invite and look at how that may have contributed to the effect that we're seeing here of people coming in and arriving in the meeting as a presenter. So to make it available to people, but not necessarily email them because I didn't have all your email addresses, I save it as an ICS file, and you know, of course, when you send it to a person directly, you do have a bit more control over it because there's various things that you can set within the meeting options. I don't know if there's a disconnect between that and when someone arrives via a meeting invite that's saved as an ICS file, but we can have a look further down the page about some of the other settings that I've got. So this is just the meeting invite itself if you received it via email. So some of the settings that I chose were I didn't want you to have to wait in the lobby. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I should have chosen that. But I wanted people to just come in and then I wouldn't have to manage a lobby and keep allowing and disallowing people to the meeting. I've said that anyone from my organisation is a presenter. Now this is the confusing part. You know, you're not all from my organisation, yet you've all come in as presenter. Perhaps saving it as an ICS file will then allow you to all come in as if you were part of my organisation. Maybe that's the setting. That's a good option to have mutual attendees to just come into the meeting, but I chose to not block the attendees' video because I wanted to have that experience of video conferencing at the beginning of the meeting. So if you just look at some of those choices that you've got there for whether people can wait in the lobby or not, they're all there. Only me, I can get in. People I invite from my company, anyone from my organisation, or no restrictions, which is what I chose. And that's a better overview, better explanation of people who don't have to wait in the lobby. So that's there for your reference if you want to open the notebook later. Who's a presenter? Similar choices. And the limitations of how people participate. So I think that probably the settings that affect whether you're coming in as presenter or not are a combination of whether or not you're waiting in the lobby and saving as an ICS file. Perhaps people are considered a person from my organisation if they save and respond to that file. That's right, I was going to show you something else, but I hadn't taken a screenshot of it, showing how to add a notebook. Now, I don't know if I'm going to embarrass myself by opening up an email and allowing you to read something that's private. But we'll see. I just wanted to show you within the meeting invite where you can add a notebook and some of the choices. So I've done things a little differently because when you do add a notebook, to a meeting invite, what it does is it asks you, where do you want the page for the meeting to be stored? If I get into my calendar. So I'll go back to the OneNote notebook that I've got shortly, but the meeting itself, where are we? Yeah, very full morning this morning. Double click. And as you can see, it was 5 o'clock this morning in New Zealand when it started. So the option to add a notebook, when you go to add a notebook, first of all you've got to have your notebook in a place which is accessible by your meeting attendees. And if I said share notes with the meeting, which is ideally what you want to do, so people can write on the same page and contribute, that will ask you where do you want to save or where do you want to create this page. And over in the OneNote notebook, I've just left this here as an example. That's all it did. It created a page in a notebook that was hopefully available to all your attendees. So that's quite simple, but of course I wanted to do a bit more than that. So the notebook, if I can just quickly do this now, I was going to save it till the end of the meeting, but I've stored my notebook on the public site of SharePoint Online. Yeah, it can do a lot more than you expect. I'm not a web developer, I'm not a designer, so please forgive the graphics and how it looks. But what I was able to do was, even on the public site, you can add various different types of content. So I can go into here as my obviously with admin rights. I can go to site content, and for those of you who are familiar with SharePoint, you can create a document library. So I'd created a public resources library, and while it doesn't have the icons to say what it is, my notebook is the max out Lync notebook there. 68 views. Not bad. So I can get those kind of stats just by having the notebook located in my public site. It still gives me some of the features of SharePoint Online, not all, but it exposes it and gives me some of the management features of the document libraries and where I put things. So the result of that, if I launch it, then I get what some of you are seeing now, the notebook within your browser. And over to my sharing options, all I had to do was use the get a link option, and I created both a view-only link, which I published in my blog post, and an edit link, so guests can contribute. And both of these links I can enable or disable. So, if I got to the end of the meeting and I didn't want any more contributions, I wanted to make sure that people didn't delete my content or anything like that, then I could disable that link. And just for ease of use, I used the bit.ly link shortener to make that easier to get to and more attractive, because boy, those links are quite long. They have a number of different characters in there to provide a security token to be able to access the notebook. So we'll get back to the meeting invite, and we have just showed you how you can add a notebook to a meeting invite. So just another comparison that I wanted to make, another feature that I wanted to look at and introduce you to, and I think that this would be another contributing factor to the quality of a meeting, is how you're using PowerPoint. Now, I think what I've observed is that people do tend to choose presenting PowerPoint from a shared desktop. So I've got a shared desktop here. I could fire up PowerPoint, and it would be just as if you were, you could manage it just as if you were connected to a projector. However, your meeting attendees, whenever you scroll something, and you'll notice this too even for what I'm presenting here, that the content will just jump. It won't show a nice smooth animation. So any of your animations within the PowerPoint deck, if you're presenting from a shared desktop, will be very sort of jittered. which is similar to this experience you have when I scroll my page up and down. Now the explanation for that is that the PowerPoint has to, or rather the shared desktop has to redraw. It's again, I would explain it simply as a shared desktop as a just a large web camera, and with all the data and the detail and the pixels that it has to present, the busier the screen, the more it has to send that picture. So if I combine that thinking with if we then turned on video, we've got everyone's video running in a Lync conference, plus we've got a shared desktop that's like an oversized web camera. I think it would get things quite busy. So my recommendation is to split that up a bit. As I said, you have your video conferencing section and different points within the meeting where you might want to stop and talk as a group, get feedback, but have that communication face to face, and then you can go back to your shared presentations. So a share on your shared desktop. Now the difference with that and PowerPoint upload, which is here, is that in the background, first of all, you're uploading the PowerPoint to your presentable content. So if I loaded a PowerPoint up now, it would be there. I could switch between it. I could switch between my polls, my presented desktop, and it would be quite easy to manage. The other difference is that the PowerPoint itself is presented, or the presentation layer is managed at the client end or at the attendee end. So it's using Office Online or Office web apps, and just like if you've seen an embedded PowerPoint before inside a web page, it will behave that way. It'll have basic animation. It will, whenever you effectively click the remote control, it'll change slides. But the presentation of it isn't from your desktop, as in like a shared desktop. The presentation is at the attendees end and gives them perhaps the best experience of the meeting. Now the Office web app doesn't have all the features. It doesn't present all the fantastic animations. It does simplify it a little, but in this version of Office web apps, it's quite impressive, really. So that's one option that you can use in place of sharing your desktop to present a PowerPoint, because it will give your attendees a better experience. And saying that, if we look at our table for comparisons, I think I've got a note in there that presentation is run on a tenured device. No, I think it was something from the last meeting that we observed where the presentation, if you're done by uploading the PowerPoint, isn't always visible for all your attendees. And that might be a limitation of perhaps the Lync web app, the Lync app for devices. Is anyone here, Thomas, if you're still here, do you recall what it was like to? I actually probably didn't present a PowerPoint, but if I had, I would expect that there would be a difference of what's been presented. I know that if I switch to polls, Stuart, mobile devices won't be able to see PowerPoints, but they can see shared desktops.
Yeah,
I find that interesting.
There's a number of things. There's a number of odd things happening there with the mobile devices. One of them is that, as I say, they can see mobile devices. Now I'm talking about iPads, mobile phones, Android, that sort of good stuff. They can participate in shared desktops, but they won't see the PowerPoint slides if you upload them, as you have done, or as you were talking about. Equally, polls won't work either, or whiteboarding. So you've got limitations there. You need to know if you're going to have everybody on a desktop client or everyone on a mobile client, see which one works.
Yeah, so you do have to know your audience and how they're coming in. And, I would have expected perhaps the opposite to be true, that it's probably simpler to present a PowerPoint that's been uploaded than it is to have a shared desktop. But maybe just...
So PowerPoint is possible using the latest version for iPad only. So if you've got an iPad and install the latest Lync client, you can view PowerPoint.
Okay.
Using the Lync 2013 or Microsoft Web Apps, so to say.
Right. Yeah.
Because as you said, Darrell, using Lync 2013, PowerPoints are shared using the Office Web Apps component. So if you've got an on-premise Lync deployment, you need an Office Web Apps server there. Obviously, if you're running it on Lync Online, they've got you covered with web apps from the cloud. And if you're sharing your desktop, it's actually making use of the same transport capabilities than video. So you're encapsulating RDP, so the Remote Desktop Protocol, into RTP, which is a real-time data protocol used for video conferencing. So you can. My assumption is that you can show desktop sharing, or you can view desktop sharing on a mobile device because it is able to also view video.
Right. Okay, so that explains it. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Thomas. That's quite a comprehensive answer. That makes a lot of sense. So if I was to switch to a poll now, which I did have, I'll go to my managed content. Poll present now. Okay, so there'll be some people in this meeting that are attending from other devices. And I do get a warning on my screen. Some people can't see what's been presented or shared. So it's as if the meeting knows that you expect that. The service knows that some people are attending from Lync devices rather than the full Lync client.
Yeah, you'd think that would be it. As I say, I just said I get presenting features are unavailable due to server connectivity issues.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, same here.
Yep. So I'll close that poll off. Poll is closed. Go back to our shared desktop. It also helps to know the difference between your mute button and your hang up button on your headset. So you might have noticed I dropped out there. I was trying to mute when I coughed, but yeah, I definitely muted. I hung up. So we're back to shared. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Stuart. Yep. Good to see some sense of humour there.
That's why I've got what they call a cough drop, which is a machine connected on the mic that I just drop out.
Or we can share PowerPoints.
Wow.
You know,
So is it a feature of that mic?
Doesn't work.
No, it's
Desktop sharing doesn't work. Desktop sharing is working.
I'll just mute the other people there that were chatting in the background. So what was cough drop, Stuart? Oh, I muted you. Sorry, Stuart, you're back on the air. I think you're back on the air.
all right. Yes, I got that. Okay, so yeah, a cough drop is effectively a mechanical connection between the mic and the input port on the PC, which just basically lets you drop out. I was brought up in an older age, and I can't always find the mute button myself, but I've got a physical button on my desktop I can just hit, and that does the same job.
Oh, right. Well, that's probably easier than fumbling away with the headset. Yeah, the same effect, I guess, but yeah, it's easy to make that mistake. Thanks for the link there, Thomas. I'll just drop that into the OneNote notebook. There we go. That's quite helpful. Okay, so I think we're getting close to the end of the meeting. We've had a look at the PowerPoints. We can probably leave this control freak section for now. what I was going to do differently this time around was just open it up to you know, an attendee to be a presenter, to you know, turn on the feature where it allows, if I show you at the top of the screen, I can give control to anyone, so that would allow everyone and anyone to be able to control my mouse. Feel free, anyone, to try that. Currently presenting, I've given control. Maybe I didn't do that correctly. Give control automatically. Maybe that's only to presenters. Okay, they do need admin privileges. Okay, so it's got to do with attendees. Oh, DDA in control. That'll be DDA. So yeah, we noticed that feature last time, that you can see who is controlling it just by that bar along the top. And I think there was a pop quiz associated with that little demonstration. So since you've stuck your hand up, Didier, for the demonstration, ask the attendee to control the screen and demonstrate the meeting layout options. So I'll go back to our meeting. Can you show us where the meeting layout options are? Ooh, pop quiz. No pressure. Oh. Nope. I'll give you a hint. Getting warmer. Right hand side of the screen. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'll show you where they are. Meeting options. For the layout, you've got your gallery view, your speaker view, and your content view. Compact view as well. So gallery view is what we're seeing here, that the attendees are all along the top, and you know, if we had video turned on, you'd see that flicking backwards and forwards. Thanks for coming, Paul. The recording should be there later on. Speaker view would be showing just the speaker, who's the active speaker. And you've got content view, which gets all that out of the way, and then if there was a shared desktop, then you could see that clearly. Compact view, I haven't really played with that much. Oh, there we go. It brings it all back to the single IM window. Content view. Okay, so thanks for being a good sport, DDA, and taking control. I'll take that back somehow. Never mind, we'll leave that for now. And I did briefly show you some of the meeting setup. Yeah, no problem. It's great to have people getting in there and helping out. So just to finish off, be good to see if you can get access into the Getting Started Yammer group, Yammer network. The idea being it's a live demonstration of how Q&A and persistent chat could finish off a Lync meeting. So we're at the end of a Lync meeting, we've got hundreds of thousands of attendees, okay, maximum 3,000, and we're asking people to get in and continue the conversation, ask the Q&A, and so rather than spilling out just something like a Reddit session or Twitter, we could use Yammer and keep that a bit more enclosed. So I'll just check to see if there's anyone that's attempted to get access as admin, user management. Let's see. Doesn't look like anyone's asked for access.
Hey there, it's Thomas again.
Hi,
I
Thomas.
tried to join the network, and it said something like your request for invitation has been sent to the admin. So
Okay. I would expect to see it in here with we've got invite users, access, admins, usage policy, remove users, block users.
yeah, I'm only getting started with Yammer myself, so
Yeah, you know, it's a experience and learn example for me. I can go to my email and see if your message is there, and maybe that'll take me to the right place. And I don't see the invite. I know better than to not check spam, so I'll check there. Nope, just a request for help from some stranger. So I'm sure I'll be able to find the option there if I look close enough. But look, thanks for everyone for attending and you know, being part of this. It's good to be able to see what Lync can do and you know, what we can do to improve the Lync online meeting experience. There wasn't the 250 people again that I was hoping for, but that's fine. It was still a good experience to be able to get people's feedback, tell us how the meeting was working for them from the different devices, and discuss some of the different information. And will there be part 3? Those who are still on the call, would you like a part 3? Because you know, I'm willing to run it and then perhaps, you know, focus on another feature or two. That's good feedback. Thanks, Jonathan.
Sure, if I've got time, I'm sure to join in.
Great. No, that's good. And we'll see if we can get more people along. And has anyone not had the experience of being a presenter or a Lync online meeting admin? Because if you haven't, if you've just been a regular Joe Blogs as part of a network that has Lync, then I'll elevate you to being a presenter, and then you can help me manage you know, these various features within Lync. So we can look at that in session 3 if you'd like. Thank you, Adrian, for your offer to recruit others and get more people along. You know, it's always the case if people register, they've got good intentions, they want to come along, but you know, I expected close to 60 or 70 people today based on registrations, and promises of, yes, I'll join from 3 or 4 different devices and I'll get my work colleagues to join in too. But yeah, we all know that sometimes it just doesn't work out. And I do hope to run a meeting like this at a more respectable hour for people in the Asia Pacific and Australasian area sometime too. So thank you all for coming, and I'll just keep the meeting open for a little longer so we can chat over IM and answer some questions if you've got any. Yeah, so thanks for attending.